Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today we're going to be doing a top 10 list. And which top 10 are we doing today? We're going to be delving into my top 10 nature-themed games. And why am I doing this? And it's because last week I made a video talking about themes in games and ones that I want uh, more themes of different types and stuff like that. So I talked about nature-themed games because I said that nature-themed games were probably the ones that are coming out the most now. It's like the most popular theme today. I mean, every single week there's a couple more of these nature-themed games that are coming out. And so I was like, well, after I did that video, I'm like, man, I should do this top 10 list. And then I went and looked on BGG and all the nature-themed games I played, and I'm like, this was a hard list to make because there are so many of them that I've played. I could have made like a top 50 nature-themed games list because there's just so many of them. So it was a pretty hard list to make because there's a lot of them that I do really like. And it is a theme that I really enjoy. And you'll notice that a lot of these games are newer games. And that's because within the last 4 or 5 years, this is just a theme that's exploded. So more and more games are from these last recent years. And yeah, out of all the top 10 lists I've made, these games are the most new, for sure. With that being said, let's just jump into this list and going into number 10. Number 10 is, I believe, the simplest game on this list. This is Ecosystem. Ecosystem is a game that's not talked about a lot, but it's a very simple drafting game where you're going to be making this tableau in front of you of 20 cards. And you're going to pick a card, pass the rest, pick a card from that, pass the rest, and you're placing these down. And these cards are, animals or meadows or streams. And when you're placing them down, you want to think of what cards are going to be adjacent to them, because they're going to be scoring according to the cards that are basically beside them. If you place a mosquito down, you want that beside the streams. And if you want, fish want to be beside the streams as well. Stuff like that. So it's pretty thinky, but it's very simple as well. I mean, you can teach this game in a matter of a couple minutes. Not many people talk about Ecosystem. It's not that original, but I think with the theme and the ease of play of this game, that it's just one that I have really liked. So number 10 is Ecosystems. And when I'm talking about nature-themed games, I'll say I'm talking about everything, like the flora, the fauna. I'm talking about, plants, trees, animals, insects, all of it. I kind of stayed away from cartoony sort of looking games for this particular list. So yeah, let's get back into the list. So let's go to number 9. Number 9 is a much different game than number 10. This is Eco's First Continent. Now, in Eco's First Continent, you are going to be building out the world, the first continent. You're going to be putting out new terrain type. You're going to be putting out trees. You're going to be putting out mountains. You're going to be putting out animals. And how you're doing this is this bingo style system where you're pulling a couple tiles out of this bag, and those tiles have basically resources on them. And those resources you're going to put on certain cards, trying to fill up those cards and activating those cards. Once those cards are filled up, you're going to activate it and do that card's special effect, which like you said, you're going to be putting out things, making this continent grow, bringing this continent to life, basically. And it's an ever-evolving continent. I mean, you might be putting out animals, and then another person comes along and eats all those animals with like the shark or something like that. So it's ever evolving. It's a game that I have really liked. I really like the look of it. I really like watching the world expand in this game. So number 9 is Eco's First Continent. Going to number 8. Number 8 is Endangered. Endangered is a dice worker placement game that's cooperative, which you don't see very many worker placement games that are cooperative, yet alone dice worker placement games that are cooperative. In this game, the theme is you're basically trying to there's a council that you're trying to vote a certain way, but for the main thing of this game is you're basically trying to save these endangered animals. And there's a couple different modules that come with this game. The original game, the base game, comes with tigers and otters, and they're 2 different scenarios, and they're going to act differently according to which scenario you're playing. But basically, there's pollution coming in, there's deforestation coming in, and you're trying to make these endangered animals survive. And how the dice worker placement part aspect works is there's going to be different worker placement spots, and you're going to place a dice of yours on these worker placement spots, and then you won't get those dice back until it's your turn next time. And so everybody else on those spots that you've placed cannot place a dice that is a die that is lower than your dice or equal. You have to place a higher die. So it gets harder and harder to place die on places that are taken up, which is a really creative way to implement the dice worker placement theme, especially a cooperative game like this. And alongside those spots, you're also going to make new spots with your cards, because you're going to be drawing cards and using certain cards. There's certain cards are going to be able to be action spots. So you're going to play a card that becomes an action spot for everybody to place dice in. And I just think it's a really good game. And it's a good game with the base game. I have not played the expansion. The expansion comes with like a bunch more animals, so a bunch more scenarios. I just think it's a really good system. So number 8 is Endangered. Let's go to number 7. Number 7 is a small card game. This is Arboretum. In Arboretum, you're going to, it's a very thinky sort of card game where you're going to be placing cards into your little tableau area, and they're all different types of trees, and the cards are also numbered, and you have to build this tableau of trees of yours in a certain pattern, from ascending to descending order in certain ways. And then at the end of the game, you're going to score those certain tree types. But whoever's got the most of that tree type power left in their hand can only score those cards that are on the table. So it's a very thinky game. You're like, I want to place this card out to make this tree row bigger and better for me, but I also need to keep that card because I want to have the most power of that tree type in order to score it. So it's very, very thinky. So because each round you're going to be drawing 2 cards, and then you're going to be placing a card and then discarding a card. And when you're drawing cards, you can take off of your discard pile or anybody else's discard pile along with the regular deck. So it's very, very thinky of how you want to do this cards, which cards you want to play, which cards you want to keep in your hand, which cards you're able to discard and you're possibly losing to other people. So yeah, it's just a really fun game. It's pretty thinky for a little card game. So yeah, number 7, Arboretum. Going to number 6. Number 6 is another little color card game. This is Enchanted Plumes. This was a surprise to me when I played this game. This is a game, and it's a beautiful looking game, of you're playing these peacock cards. You're basically making a plume of peacocks for this peacock, basically. And you're going to be playing cards in front of you and making these peacocks. And on the bottom row, those are all going to be negative points for you. And these cards are come in all different types of colors as well. And you can build that row as far as you want, as big as you want, but those are going to be all negative. Then from then on, you can build it like a pyramid style. You're going to be placing cards on top of those cards, but you can only place colored cards on top of the same colored cards, basically, of the bottom row. So if you have red, blue, yellow, the next row has to be only of those colors. And you're going to get smaller and smaller cards each row because you're making it in a pyramid style shape. And it reminds me of the game Lost Cities, actually, but just with a much more beautiful looking cards with it. It just gives me that feel of agonizing decisions. So yeah, number 6, Enchanted Plumes, a game that I really like. Going to number 5. Number 5 is a reprint of a game. This is Habitats. It just got a recent reprint, a recent Kickstarter that arrived, and so I've been playing this game a bunch lately. This is a game where you are going to be building out a tableau of different creatures, and the creatures are also going to have different habitats on them, terrain types, and you want to place the terrain next to other terrain types, because like if you get the gorilla, he wants to be next to 2 different green areas, and maybe desert or whatever he wants to be next to. And so you're going to have to build this tableau trying to score points, and you're going to try and score all of these different animals, and it's just pretty fun. But how you're taking these tiles, you're drafting these tiles, is you are moving along you're moving this car along this 4x4 or whatever grid of these types, and you move that car and you take either the tiles that are in front of the car or on the sides. And so you're moving this car around the whole game, taking these tiles, and you're running into other people because they're taking up space as well. It's a fun game. I think it really looks nice. I mean, it's got some different artwork on it, especially the new game on it. It's got not typical artwork, I should say, but I think it looks really good, and it feels very thematic. Like I want to get this gorilla, I want to make this turtle, I want to get his terrain types beside him. It's fun little game. Let's go on to the next one. Number 5 was Habitats. Going to number 4. Number 4 is the Lost Expedition. This is a game that I play a lot solo. It's one of my favorite solo games, and this is a game where basically it's nature fighting back against you. You have a bunch of bad things happening to you. You're getting bit by snakes. You're getting attacked by jaguars. You have insects that are coming and ruining your campsite. You have flooding, rains and mudslides. Just bad things are happening, and you're just trying to make your way through this jungle into the lost city of Z. You're basically just trying to survive until you get to that location. I mean, you have 3 explorers to start with, and you get so much health, and you're just trying to drag your feet into getting into the lost city of Z. It's a very hard game to win. I've played it so many times, and I've won so few. But I've really enjoyed my plays of the Lost Expedition. So yeah, number 4, the Lost Expedition. Going to number 3. Number 3 is Cascadia. Cascadia is sort of this packet drafting game where you are trying to build out a bunch of terrain types, but you're also going to get animals along the way. And when you're drafting, you take a terrain type and you take the animal below it, and you get so many options of what you're going to, which packet you're going to draft. I think you get 4 options. So you're going to take the terrain type, place it somewhere connecting into your other habitat areas, and then place your animal. And you want your habitats to all be touching the same type of habitats because you're going to score points for those. But you want to place your animals on specific spots and make certain sort of patterns with each of these animals, because each of these animals are going to score differently. Like the bears are going to want to basically be all huddled together. The moose or whatever are going to want to go in a straight line. Each of these animals has several different variations of their scoring cards, so you can switch those up pretty easy. They're not like a huge difference between them, but enough where I think it makes for some nice variability in this game. So number 3, Cascadia. Going to number 2. Number 2 is a game that I've played the least amount on this game because I do not own this game. This is Meadow. I've only played this game 3 times, and the fact that it made number 2, I think, says a lot about it. It basically uses this system that Quadropolis uses, where you get a tile type, tile number, like it might be 1, 2, 3, or 4, and you're going to place that tile on, the bottom left or right of this group, this grid of different types of animals and insects. And so if you put the 2 tile over here, you have to draft the animal card that's 2 away from it. And so it makes for some nice, interesting decisions. And you're going to take that card, put it into your tableau area, and you're going to be building off those cards. Like if you have a bug, maybe you need a bird next, and the next thing you need maybe is a hawk or something like that. But you're going to be placing cards on top of other cards, building this tableau area. Really fun game. And it's a looker to me. I really like the look of this game. It looks great on the table. It's got a lot of table presence. So number 2 is Meadow. Let's go to the number 1 game, and most people are probably going to see this one coming from a mile away. This is Wingspan. It's the most popular nature-themed game out there. This is just one of those games that people either love or they hate. They think it's overrated or underrated, whatever. It gets talked about a lot, so because a lot of people really like it. I am in the camp that I really enjoy my plays of Wingspan. It's just this engine building, card playing game where I love activating at the end of the game when you're activating those certain bird rows and doing these big giant moves. I just think it's really interesting. I love the artwork on the game, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful game. And like I said, some people just really hate it, and some people really love it. And I just happen to be in the camp of loving this game. So yeah, number one is Wingspan. No surprise there for myself. That will complete this list. Let me know your favorite nature themed games down below in the comments. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everybody.